Sure. You just do whatever you want. Don't you worry about it. Hello and welcome to Kids Connection. It's King's Connection, Kids Connection tonight. And we're really excited because we always have a good show and we have a fun show for kids and family, but we have a couple special guests here and we have a serious subject. So we're going to talk about juvenile arthritis. We're going to find out everything about it. And later in the show, we have a special doctor who can tell us all about it, and she's going to join us. So right now we have a special young lady who's a friend of mine, and I know her family. Please welcome Maya. How are you?
Good.
Now, we're going to introduce your dad, too, RJ, right?
Yes, hi.
Okay, now, you have juvenile arthritis, is it called?
Yes.
Now, you're going to have to tell me about it, because when I first heard juvenile, all I know was juvenile delinquent. And I know you're not that, and I know juvenile hall, which I think I was there as a kid.
Really?
But I know you're a good girl. So what exactly is it?
It's a disease in your joints, and sometimes it causes a flare-up.
Okay.
And
now, do you get it in certain joints? Does it come more common?
Like your wrists and your fingers, and like your knees and your ankles.
Okay. Now, were you at a younger age when you found this out, or how long has it been? In general, a year? 2 years, maybe?
Like, we found out that it had flared up again in July sometime.
Oh, this past July. Okay. Now, RJ, does it run in your family, or how does that work?
It can have a predisposition.
Okay.
And my grandmother did actually have rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
Had,
how about anyone else in your immediate family?
well, her sister doesn't have it, and my brothers,
okay,
we don't have it, and my mom or my dad.
Sure.
And so nobody immediate. So it was. It's been. And I was actually diagnosed at 17 months.
At 17 months. These were some of the questions I had, because a lot of us don't know. I didn't even know it existed. And then I had your sister on our show, Kids Connection, before, and that's how I met you. So in being in touch with you and your parents, I found out that this happens and that you happen to have it. So at 17 months, how do they know when the child can't tell you?
It's a good, I mean, that's probably the best question that we've ever been asked, and it's tough. We went through a lot of different tests.
Sure. Eliminating other potential problems.
Lots of different things.
Okay.
She had a bone scan. She had an upper GI, a lower GI. Lots of just different tests trying to rule out other things.
So at that age, was it perhaps she was crying a lot or in pain, and you know, as a parent, you knew it and just didn't know why?
Had some fevers. High fevers, 102, 103 degrees that would last for a few days.
Wow.
Crying. She stopped pretty much moving, or at about that time is when kids start trying to cruise around, stand up and walk. And she started to stop, actually. And so she preferred
just sitting. So that's why when I asked you, you don't know when you had it, because you were so little, huh? Well, what I think I've noticed is it hasn't affected your funny bone, right? It's not in there.
Right.
Huh. Well, I think you're a wonderful child to tell us about it. Now, you, let's see, most recently doing a public service announcement in San Jose. So you've been on television, huh? Wow, did you have to memorize what you were going to say, or did you get to read it?
I got to read it off a television. It had white words, and first they had to do like 5 takes. 5 takes? It usually takes a couple to get relaxed and warm up to it. Yeah. 5's pretty good. Wow. Now, when was that? Maybe a week or 2 ago? Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But now, even on a grander scale, a national scale, you went to Washington, D.C., didn't you? And am I correct in saying that your job was to raise awareness with the senators or congressmen?
Yes.
Wow. Tell us about that.
Well, my dad, he's like, how would you feel if you went to Washington?
So he was asking you if you would like to do that? Okay, and then what happened?
And then he said, we're going to Washington to raise awareness of the senator.
Yes.
And I was all nervous because I thought I met...
Who wouldn't be?
Because I thought I'd meet the president and talk about it.
Sure. But you did speak to a senator or congressman, was it, RJ?
Yeah, she was able to speak to Zoe Lofgren, our local congresswoman, and then also Lois Capps from Santa Barbara.
Good. Yeah. Did you give them a little talk you had prepared? Wow. Do you feel you did a good job? I bet you did. Wow. Now, how long were you guys there, RJ?
We were there for 4 days.
4 days?
Yeah, the annual advocacy summit where they kind of bring people that are involved with arthritis. Lots of families.
So it happened to be an arthritis advocacy summit, not other problems as well?
Correct.
It was
just
that
for
particular
arthritis.
one?
Yes.
That's a good time to go, isn't it?
Yes.
Did you go to other conferences and things while you were there?
We got a chance to learn a little bit more about how to advocate for those with arthritis, to bring more awareness, more research money, and things like that.
Were there other young people your age there too?
Yes, and after a conference, we had to go in a different room, and the moms and dads went and talked about the boring stuff, I bet. And then
that's grown-ups, huh?
and then we got to the first time we got to make cupcakes. Yay. They gave us cupcakes, and then they gave us a choice of strawberry, chocolate, or vanilla icing. Yeah. And then we took some sprinkles. Yeah. Like their own cupcake tin, like that big, and then we spread all the frosting on our cupcakes and sprinkled them.
So this was a little event they had while you were there for the kids? Now, did you also make something you want to show us today? You want to do that right now? I'm excited because I haven't even seen what this is. Wow.
Well, on like the third day, we had a special visitor. Yeah. And then after that, another special visitor came in with this tote bag, except for it looked like this. It was all empty. Yeah. And then it had a bunch of papers and a sock and some ties and...
Well, let's see what's in it, because I'm dying to know.
Okay, this is a hot pad that I made, and it's full of rice.
Oh, I love tie-dye. I lived in Haight-Ashbury in the late 60s, and we made tie-dyes for the first time. Now tell us about that.
Well, I filled it with rice, and it already had the face on it. Yeah. And then after I filled it was like that big of a bag, sort of. And then after I cut a hole into it, and then filled the top of the sock in with all the rice. Yeah. I spilled a lot, and then and then I tied it together with 2 shoelaces. Wow.
Now, is that one of your dad's socks and shoelaces?
No.
It wasn't? You sure? Not out of his suitcase when you were traveling?
No.
Okay, I believe you. I believe you.
All his socks were like brown and black. Weird socks.
Do you find that maybe doing crafts or things helps?
Well, they made it to, actually, maybe Mike can tell you a little bit more, but she sticks it in the microwave and it stays warm.
That's why I'm asking. I thought there might be a reason for it, and it's soothing. Yeah. That's a great idea. It looks like a fun friend, too.
And then sometimes I go like this, and then I sort of like knock all the rice into it. Yeah. And then now here's my agent.
Wow. And what if your mom was making a dinner and the only missing ingredients was rice? Wouldn't that be handy? Oh, you don't want to give... Does your friend have a name?
Martha.
Martha. Oh, Martha. Now, speaking of Martha, wasn't Martha married to George?
Yes.
Let's talk about George.
Okay.
Now, if we can get camera 2 on this, this is George that you also got in Washington, D.C.? Yes. How fun. Now, George has something he wants to say. I believe he wanted to be interviewed?
Yes, he does.
Okay, go ahead and ask him.
Okay, George, do you think that arthritis is unacceptable? Well, I think so too. Do you like chocolate better than cherries? I'm just wondering.
So he used to like cherries the best, but it's chocolate now? Wow.
Probably cherries and chocolate.
Yum.
And also, I went to the chocolate store.
In Washington, D.C.? So do you remember anything about the arthritis conference at all?
Yes.
Well, you know, you're a kid and you're supposed to have fun. And this is so much fun. Now, we have about 5 minutes left, so to be serious for one more minute, I do want to ask you this. If you could tell people anything about arthritis, and a lot of us didn't know it existed, what would you want to tell them?
That if your friend suddenly leaves for the office, but he doesn't really tell what it is, it might be some disease of his, or it might be arthritis.
Okay.
And sometimes when I leave for the office, after I come back in, the door makes a big thunk and everybody turns around.
Yes.
And then a couple of my seatmates started mouthing the words, "Where were you?" Mm-hmm. And I just smile because I don't really want to answer. And so if your kids and kids with arthritis, if you don't know that you really have arthritis and your parents don't know, then you can tell your parents that the symptoms are puffy joints and you just hurt so much that you don't really want to move.
Yeah. And it must be difficult for everyone because as a child you're trying to be understood that you have a hurting, and your parents might not know that. I didn't know that juveniles got arthritis. So there's a lot of misunderstanding and learning to do, huh? Mm-hmm. And that's what raising awareness is good for, huh? Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good plan. How about you, RJ? Is there anything you might want to add to that?
I think the awareness part is is part of the reason why we're here.
That is why we're here. Hey, real quick, that reminds me, there's an awareness parade in not a parade, but a walkathon in San Francisco, and you're the honoree? Look at you go, girl. Wow, that's a lot of things, huh? So you've done a public service announcement for TV, and you've spoke before the senators or congressmen, and now you're going to be in San Francisco, which is an international world-class city, and you're going to be an honoree there. Well, I have one thing to show you real quick. Now, you don't know this happened, but they had a camera in Washington, D.C., and apparently they took your picture. And again, you didn't know that was going to happen. I think it's right when they told you that what the national debt was. So let's show this to our studio audience. And this was your reaction. Wow. You were surprised at that high number, huh? Okay, that's a little souvenir for you. I think you're wonderful. And we're going to put that right here, and I'm going to give that to you. Okay, thank you so much for being with us, but you're going to be back, so you don't go anywhere. We're going to have a doctor, and you continue with the little story. And RJ, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, we'll see you again. And thanks, we'll be right back. Give us a few minutes. We're going to have a doctor who can tell us a little bit more of the technical side so we'll really understand this youthful problem. Be right back. Hello and welcome back. We've had an exciting beginning to the show because we have a wonderful young lady here telling us all about juvenile arthritis. But now we have another guest, and this is Dr. Tova Ronis. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're welcome. Now, we need an adult perspective, too, and this is your specialty. You're a fellow, is it at Stanford?
Yes.
Stanford Hospital? So is that a 3-year program you were saying?
Yes, I've already finished pediatrics training, and now I'm specializing in pediatric rheumatology.
Okay, you know, when we had talked before, I wanted to ask you this, and I don't want to forget it. Is there a reason you chose that field particularly?
I think it's an under-recognized field, as you were saying before. Yes. You'd never heard of pediatric arthritis.
Yes.
And there is a dire need for pediatric rheumatologists in this country. So it's a good place to be specializing right now. There are 9 states without pediatric rheumatologists.
That don't have any at all? Oh my gosh.
And the patients, as you can see, are wonderful.
And that's what's good about today's show is we have it, you know, from the perspective of a young person, and now we have it from someone who's bringing it to the forefront as adults and in the medical field. That's very important. Now, you were telling us while we were getting ready for this portion that you were also at the conference that Maya was at?
Yes, I got to go with the Arthritis Foundation to advocate.
Wow, good for you. Wow. Now, let me see. How many different types of arthritis are there? That's a question I wrote down because I also wanted to ask. Is it many different types, and do young people get different types of arthritis, or is there just one for kids?
There are many different types of arthritis kids can get.
Okay.
And the treatments, the presentations, they're all a little different. A lot of them are similar to adult types of arthritis, but then there are some types of arthritis that only happen in kids.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that. There's so much to learn here. Wow. Now, we were asking earlier when Maya had got it. You know, I was shocked to hear when she was only 17 months. Typically with children, could it be at any age?
There are some types that are more common in the younger age, and then some types are more common in teenage years.
Okay.
So it really can happen at any age, but the types that happen at each age can be different.
Yes. And if they have it, it doesn't mean they have it every day of their life. There are flare-ups or then times when they're normal without a problem? Or
that's our goal, but arthritis is a chronic disease, and usually it's a multidisciplinary approach to get it under control. Sometimes under control with medications, but the goal is in the future to be under control off of medications.
I see. So now, what did you call it again? A
multidisciplinary?
Multidisciplinary. Okay.
And that just means that you have doctors and physical therapists and all sorts of, it's a whole team approach.
Okay, that's why I wanted to clarify that, because that was also one of my questions was, how do you deal with it? Is it medication? Is it physical therapy? And so it's just what you described.
Yeah, I think the mainstay of treatment is medication to get the inflammation under control, because it's the medicines that really help bring down the inflammation and the pain. But then definitely you need good nutrition so that kids keep growing well, and physical therapy and occupational therapy to help with function and daily living.
So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Now, how are you at doing all these things? I mean, you're learning as you go, I know. And how does it affect your life?
Well, it sort of affects my life when it like really hurts, and in the morning when it super hurts, feels like my ankles are most common, like they feel like they're burning and on fire. I'll stay home.
Sure.
And then sometimes they aren't really super hurting, but I can still go to school, and then I just if they hurt even more, if they start gradually hurting more, then I'll call my dad or my mom from home.
When you're at school? Okay.
To pick me up.
Is it hard sometimes because the young people don't even know about it, and you can't see it? Like if you have a hurt arm or a broken arm in a cast, you can see that, but with yours, they don't see it? Yeah, I think we're learning a lot here because a lot of adults don't even know it happens. So I asked her earlier, what would you say, if you could tell us anything on the show, what would you say about arthritis that we might not know that we need to be aware of?
I think a lot of people, as you said, don't even know that it happens in kids. A lot of doctors don't even think about it when a kid comes in with a swollen joint. And so I think it's just really raising awareness that kids get arthritis too.
Sure. Well, now, speaking of raising awareness, here you are again that your father told me next Tuesday, San Jose has made it Arthritis Awareness Month, and you're the poster child again? How do you have time to go to school, or did you just give up on school? Are you gonna?
My dad said that.
That was a joke, and that's when you laugh when I say it. Okay, go ahead.
My dad said that I just skip school for that day.
I think it's more important to educate others that day. Wouldn't you agree?
And then I thought that the kids should that we should like put it on television, and then like the kids should get a little less homework to like watch the television of our show, and like if then then if the children get bored, like I don't want to watch this, and they start changing the channels, their mom would probably like, it's good for your learning. You don't have much homework.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll see this show too, and it's a serious subject, but we don't have to be always serious, right? I mean, we've got George Washington here, and we had Martha the sock friend, and now even the doctor here is pretty easy to get along with, huh? Now, is she your patient, or was she your patient?
Maya sees another doctor in our practice. Doctor.
But you met at the conference?
But we met at the conference.
Oh, how neat is that? Wow. So what do you suppose the future is for juvenile arthritis? And by that I mean awareness, or maybe new medical things, anything?
I think that the research in juvenile arthritis is ongoing, and it's really exciting. We have a lot of new treatments that are really controlling arthritis and doing a great job. Right now, a lot of those treatments have to be given as shots and as IV medications, so it's not so fun for our patients, but I think in the future, hopefully they'll come up with some nice treatments that aren't as hard to take, that work just as well.
Sure. Maybe it'll be gummy bears, and you can eat all kinds of them, yes!
Gummy bear shots.
Yum. I lived in Germany when the gummy bear was invented, the first one by Haribo, and they still make them, and they're really good. I'll have to bring that sometime. Let's see. I've asked you about the future and everything, and remind us again, how long has it been that the medical industry's really known about juvenile arthritis? Oh, it's been a long time. Has it? Okay.
Yeah, I can't tell you what year it was discovered, but over 100 years it's been discovered. But they didn't have a good treatment for it until recently. Okay. Until recently, they just had aspirin, and then they developed steroids. And kids with arthritis used to end up being crippled for life.
Is that right?
But now with newer advances, most kids can go on to lead normal lives.
Well, that's good. You seem pretty normal. Did you yawn a minute ago? You did! You yawned on my TV show!
I'm tired.
I know you're tired, because look at all you've been doing. You've been doing television PSAs to raise awareness, and you're going to be in San Francisco walking. And isn't your sister going to walk also for you? Let's tell people, when is that date?
That is...
It's April, I believe. Is that right? Okay.
April.
Coming up at the end of the month. Do you happen to know?
April 30th.
April 30th?
I think so.
Okay. Is it from Fort Mason? That's what I had heard? Okay.
Yeah. And the information's on the Arthritis Foundation website.
Okay. Let's do that, too, because I meant to have some tags. Where can people go to find out about this?
It's on the Arthritis Foundation of Northern California website. And
Arthritis Foundation of Northern California website. Okay, that's the main one?
There's an Arthritis Foundation that's national. That's the group that we went with to advocate in Washington, D.C. But in our area, it's Arthritis Foundation of Northern California, and there are actually two walks. There's one in the East Bay in Livermore, and then there's one in San Francisco.
And how about, when is the one in Livermore?
The same day.
The same day? Oh, so it's kind of like a co-event. And I know I donated. People could, this is a good cause. So I donated for your sister to help sponsor her, because you can't tell on TV right now, but I have a broken foot, so I can't do any walking. But part of the reason, doctor, I also asked you how you became interested, because I didn't know if maybe you had had it, or someone close to you might have had.
No, I remember when I was little, a kid in my school had it, but it was just something I became interested in as I was training in medical school.
Sure. So in the future, it's going to be your specialty? Or?
Yes.
Good for you. We're lucky to have her, huh? How exciting. Any last minute thoughts? We have a couple minutes left. Did I miss anything? Did I do a good job?
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Well, we talked to George and everybody. How about you? Anything I've missed that you might want to point out?
Well, I would like to point out that there are 300,000 kids in the United States with arthritis.
300,000?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
and there are 38,000 in California alone.
Okay.
So it's not a small problem.
No.
It's just not well publicized, and Maya's doing a great job at changing that.
She's fantastic. Not everybody makes it on this show, and you're first in line. Now, real quick too, how many types of juvenile arthritis might there be?
So it depends on the classification system.
Sure.
There are a bunch of different classification systems. There are about 5 main types that I could list easily, but it's kind of technical, and it depends on how many joints you have and what joints are involved.
I see. Okay, so it is a complicated thing, and you know, partly some people don't know anything about it, but even once you know a little bit, there's so much more to learn.
That's why it's 3 years.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, I tell you what, I have something for each of you. We want to say thank you so much for helping with the children, so we have a little gift for you. You've been wonderful. It's your first time on TV too, huh?
Yes.
Well, Kids Connection's a good way to get your start in show business. So there's a thank you card from all of us, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, Maya, you've done a super special job, and I know you're going to keep up the good work. So we have, it's pretend champagne, but it's really candy. So we want to present you for all you do for juvenile arthritis. And to open that, you'll just turn it upside down, and I made a little mark so you'll see just how there's a little pull thing. Yep, and you can have all that candy. Your parents said it's okay. All right? So I'm going to say thank you again. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you real soon. Now, everyone, I want to say this is a great cause, and look at how much we've learned from the wonderful doctor here, and Maya is a perfect poster child. So go to the website, and if you hear about these walkathons, if you can't make it yourself, maybe you could pitch in a little bit and help, and we'll all learn something. It'll make it easier for the kids and for us, and everybody will be happy. So thanks for watching our show, and we'll see you again on King's Connection, Kids Connection. Bye. It was fun, huh?